episode 4 of the Dark Zone Report. I'm Dan Drax. I'm in the host chair this evening. Thanks for listening. Thanks for downloading. Thanks for tuning in. We've got a great group with us tonight. Let's go around the horn and introduce everybody. First up, known as his Beardness, back again, Beard Bullets. What's going on, Beard?
What's up?
I like that. Sup. Is that like SUP or?
It's SHWUIP.
Nice. That's
right.
The little known spelling.
Mm-hmm.
On his right, on my screen at least, we have the man of 1,000 graham crackers, Mr. Golden Graham. What's going on, Graham?
Not much.
Ah, come on, man.
Thank you very much for having me tonight. I bring my own sound effects wherever I travel.
So Graham finally discovered that in the software you use to do the podcast, you can add these little sound effects and drops, and I can't control it from my end. So I want to apologize in advance to all the listeners. If you hear random sound effects, or if you're watching and you see, a monocle on him or something like that, it's because he has had several glasses of, what are you drinking, Graham?
Maker's Mark Cask Strength.
Yes, cask strength. And
Oh.
Okay. I do have a mute button, though, and I'm not afraid to use it. Last on tonight, we actually have a special guest with the show. Want to thank you for coming on. Gabe, how you doing, Gabe?
Yeah, I'm doing great, man. How you doing?
Excellent. And before we get started, why don't you just take a minute and tell everybody what you do, where they can find you, and what you're up to.
All right. Well, my name is Gabe, as he introduced me. So basically, I run a Twitter account, which is known as TC Report, and it reports all the news on the latest Tom Clancy games. And I also co-host a podcast, which is Dark Winter Radio on Twitch.
Yeah, so definitely check it out. And when are you guys? Which night is it on?
Usually it's at Monday at around 8 p.m. EST. So you can go check it out there. We actually twitch.tv/Dark Winter Radio.
Nice, and it's a little bit. I actually tuned in. I didn't catch you guys last week, but I caught you on the first week, and it's a real cool. The show's got a cool vibe to it. You guys do a lot of interacting with the chat on Twitch, and it's a little different than what we do, but really cool. So if you guys are looking for something to do on Monday nights, definitely check them out.
Thank you.
Yep. All right, guys. Let's do the news. So there's a bunch of things that we want to talk about, a good amount of news that came out this week. The first is actually that there's been some leaks about the possibility of an open beta. And real quick, as we're going through, what we've started doing, just to kind of get you the news fast, is we're doing what we call a 3-minute update. You guys can find it if you're subscribed to iTunes. It'll pop in there. It's on YouTube as well, but basically we just take 3 minutes and run down the news. So if you're looking for just a quick hit, that's a good place to look. But the beta dropped mainly because there was a leak on Xbox Italy, and it looks like right now that there's an open beta that could possibly be happening on February 16th through the 21st. Same thing kind of as last time. It looks like Xbox users will get a 1-day exclusive head start. Now that doesn't help any of us. Gabe, what system do you play on?
I play on the PC.
Oh, nice. Okay,
yeah.
Cool. So you'll be able to. Yeah. We're You've wandered into a room full of console gamers here. So
all right.
Should know that
no one plays on PC? No one? Do you guys like? Have you ever tried it, or you just stuck with console?
We're lazy, so we just.
I was a PC gamer.
We're lazy gamers, man.
Oh.
We're like, whatever's easiest, we'll pick that up.
I completely understand. Don't worry.
Graham, you used to play on PC a little bit, right?
Oh yeah, I played Fallout 4 on PC. I played a whole bunch of stuff on PC.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, I used to be an MMO guy, so I played World of Warcraft and.
Oh, all right.
Back in the day, old school Counter-Strike, I played in the original Battlefield 1942. That was my jam. But yeah, it's just easier just to pick up a controller and turn on the TV.
Yeah. Don't have to deal with anything really.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So I mean, it's pretty exciting, man. I kind of thought when we were coming out of the last beta, that they would probably do something like this, have an open. But I'm I've been going through a little bit of division withdrawal, so I'm happy to get another crack at it for sure before the game launches.
Definitely.
So that was confirmed, that beta, the open beta?
Well, I don't know that it's been confirmed, but it's gotten reported a bunch of places. I don't know that Ubisoft has confirmed it yet. Has anybody seen anything?
From a QA standpoint, even just they had this one stress test where they had a bunch of people on and kind of limited access. Now they're just going to open it up and just stress test the crap out of it.
That's probably exactly what's going to happen.
So that makes a lot of sense just from a software development point.
It'll be fun to get back in the game, but I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot of lag. Drop.
Yeah.
And
we can definitely expect more issues than there was in the closed beta.
Well, it's the funny thing too, because like when you get your first taste, you're just like excited about playing it. This time around, I think it's going to be even more painful knowing that everything I'm earning is going to just disappear at the end of it.
Definitely, that's how it was like in the beta recently. I got so much great stuff, and I was just like, oh my god. None of this matters. Like, why am I so devoted to this character? It's all going to be blown away anyway. But
we got the windbreaker.
Yeah, but I mean, you think about how fast did we get to max level in that? I played less than 10 hours, and I was 8 and 12 in Dark Zone. I was max level and everything. So it's like, you're gonna blow past that so quick. It's not even gonna be relevant. Even you think you're badass now. Like, once we get to level 20, it's just a whole different game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting. I think the other thing too is there's definitely a marketing angle to this. Especially since there was a number of people that we knew in our clan that weren't able to get in. Or folks that didn't pre-order. I mean, they're going to get the game in front of a lot more people this way too, and so I'm sure that's part of it as well. I was reading something this week. I think it was in Forbes or somewhere, but they were talking about some of the kind of recent troubles that Ubisoft has had with their games that haven't performed, and how they really need Division to hit. So I'm thinking we're going to see a big-time marketing campaign and all that coming up, but certainly an important thing for Ubisoft. The next thing I want to talk about is we did get some clarity on the DLC, and I think, Beard, you've got that in front of you, right? They've released what the next 3 DLCs will be?
Yeah, I have ubergizmo.com. I'll just read it right off the website here. It says the first expansion is called Underground, and it will allow a squad of 4 players to explore new territory in post-epidemic New York City underworld. So I'm guessing that's going to be subway system and that sort of thing. Survival is the second expansion. It's all about trying to stay alive in a hostile environment that promises to challenge even the most hardcore players. I'm assuming that's kind of like Horde mode in a Gears of War, where you just have wave after wave of enemy coming after you. And then the final expansion is aptly called Last Stand, and there's no information on that. So pretty stoked to see what that's going to be all about, because I know that they've said there's going to be multi-team, at least 8 players in some of the end game content. So hoping they incorporate some of that here.
Yeah, so I mean, let's talk through each one. I mean, I know in terms of the beta, we didn't get much of a look at the underground. I know there was an area in the Dark Zone where you could go down into the subways, but I mean, did you guys get underground at all other than that? I'm trying to think outside the Dark Zone if there was any underground stuff. I don't remember seeing any.
No, it's pretty abandoned down there. I mean, we went down, I think, a couple of us in the Dark Zone, and besides other players, and even then it was a good spot to, if you did go rogue, it was kind of a good spot to kind of hide out, because it was just so abandoned. There was no one really going down there for anything but hiding. So I'm curious to see what they do with that, and if it's a little bit more interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. It was I think I went down, I think underneath the subway. I know we found this spot that it was like, it wasn't even a subway. It was just tunnels. It was just like this whole underground thing, and it was amazing. and it looked really good, but a lot of it was cut off because of the beta. So I was really upset about that, but I'm really hyped to see all of it connect, and it's going to be really good come March 8th.
Did you glitch into it, or did you find a way into it?
No. There was a ladder that we just climbed down.
Okay.
Yeah, so
It's
it
known
was.
as,
I remember
the ladder glitch.
It was like the sewer, kind of. I think it was a sewer.
Yeah, I found it. Yeah, it was like a huge manhole. It was like bigger than any manhole cover I've ever seen. It was just like a huge gaping hole in the middle of New York City. I think I went down there too. It wasn't the subway either. It was just like an underground construction area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I think there was some analysis, and it was like only 22% of the map was in the beta. So I'm excited to see the rest of the 80% of it.
Yeah, I mean, and we don't really have a feel, I think, yet for kind of what the exploration component of this game is going to be. You know, I mean, if they're putting kind of places to grab loot in these obscure tunnels, that's cool, man. I mean, I'm into that, and I think, you know, for certain gamers that really like to kind of run around and find different things, that's going to add a whole different element to the game.
Yeah, and you said 22% of the map, but it's like 2% of the content, because that screenshot that Danthrax sent out, it was just like, you know, it looked like, you know, freaking chicken pox on the map with all the dots everywhere.
Yeah, man.
It was like, yeah, and other YouTubers I've watched it, you know, they were just talking about content density, where, you know, there's just stuff happening everywhere. It's, you know, there's not much downtime. You can run down any street and find something to do.
You raised a really good point with the map, though. It'll be interesting to see how they handled that. You know, either both vertical, you know, if they go up buildings, or with this underground stuff, how they're going to map it, you know, to the extent that there's going to be events and things. You know, maybe you'll have a different map once you're under there, or I'm not sure, but I think the way they have the map set up currently, it's not really conducive to showing, you know, waypoints and stuff underground. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, it doesn't really show you the you know, the verticality of the map as we've discussed before, but there was that one mission in the beta where you went up on the roof of the one apartment building, and, you know, you just kind of climbed across the roof to you know, to send your scans, you know, upload your scans or whatever. So there's definitely, you know, some roof play. You can get up on buildings. You can some of the buildings will let you in, but yeah, I couldn't really tell where you could and couldn't go, you know, just by looking at the map. You have to go there and explore yourself. So,
yeah,
you know, I think that's a cool element, though.
No, it seemed like there was some other doors too that, you know, you needed lockpicks for, that would also allow you to go inside of buildings. But we had the lockpicks, or like you said, those specific missions that would let you, you know, have a couple objectives to do in that building, were really the only stuff that I saw inside of buildings.
Yeah, absolutely. So the next piece of the DLC, you said it sounds, and I thought the same thing when I read the description, sounds a lot like a horde mode. Having played just a little bit of the game, seeing how the AI works, you know, getting a feel for the gunplay, do you guys think the game's going to be conducive to an enjoyable kind of horde mode? What do you think, Gabe?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think the way it plays out is, I think it's really good because a lot of people will be unique because they won't have like the same weapons, or they'll have different abilities. So all of it going together, taking out different hordes and stuff like that. They're probably going to be different levels, of course, but I would definitely like to see something like that, because after a while, I'm not saying the Division is going to be boring, but I am saying that, you know, people might get sick of PvP and PvE all the time, and they kind of want to just sit down, relax, and just, you know, kill a couple enemies with their buddies and in waves. So why not make a horde mode?
Yeah, and it'll be interesting too to see how they handle it. I mean, so were you a Destiny player, Gabe?
No, I was not, because I was playing on the PC. It's not. I don't think it's available on the PC.
Good point. So I think, it was interesting because the way they handled it when they introduced their quote-unquote horde mode is they kind of put you in this confined arena, right? And and then you play that way. I'll be very interested to see how it plays out in something like the Division, where you've got this concept of open world, no loading screens. How's that going to play out? Can you just run away if it gets too crazy? Or, I think it'd be interesting to see. Maybe that's what they'll be doing inside buildings or things like that. Like you could totally see Madison Square Garden being a great place for a horde mode type encounter, but it'll be interesting to see how that fits in kind of the paradigm of the game with the whole kind of open world vibe.
Right.
Yeah, I'm wondering if it does it activate kind of like a mission, and you kind of go into your own little instance, as opposed to being in the open world. Because when you started the mission, you could start matchmaking. So I would assume, just seeing that, like if you're just running around by yourself, you go over here, you say, oh, I want to do this endless wave mode, but I don't want to do it by myself. Let's see if I can get in a group with matchmaking. So that's my guess of how they would accomplish that.
Any thoughts on this, Graham?
Yeah, I think I love horde modes for when you just want to not really have a lot of thought into it. And you just want to kind of run around and shoot stuff. So I'm curious to see what they do. I'm curious to see if they introduce any specific horde mode enemies or AI. So I know that like Call of Duty has zombies, right? So there's a different element that they have, so I'm curious to see if they have like infected, or something like that. That would actually have people would have the virus that you'd have to actually kind of attack. I think that could be an interesting concept if they played around with that. But either way, I love horde modes. I think they're good fun. So I'm curious to see what they do with it.
Yeah, and I think too, one of the things I'd like to see if it is in fact a horde mode is make it something that kind of fits into the overall story of the game. So you're protecting some kind of a supply stash or some intel or information or something like that. Make it something that makes sense in the context of the broader game and not just like, all right, now we're gonna just shoot stuff. You know what I mean? I'd like it to be cohesive. We'll see what they do. I guess the last piece is this final stand, which we really don't have any details on, and I haven't seen much speculation at all. Anybody on the show tonight care to kind of put some speculation out there about what that could be?
No idea. Right. We got underground. We have we got horde mode. I don't know. Maybe is that the last stand? Maybe that's the 8+ player mode where you bring everybody in to fight the last final battle.
Yeah.
You team up with. Because we tried to do that in the Dark Zone, and Dan, we teamed up with this other group. So essentially, we had 8 players.
It was
playing
terrible.
the same. Yeah, but it was just so confusing. And then of course, it's the beta, so my game glitches out, and I can't see anybody's name, so I don't know who I'm shooting. I'm shooting my supposed teammates.
Yeah, exactly.
But it was good in theory, but it didn't work out. But this, I think, Last Stand, that's kind of where my mind goes. Is this is our last chance of survival. So everybody in the division has to come together. So we got 8 players, 12 players, whatever it is, fighting the same, fighting a huge battle.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Go ahead, Graham.
I would say, yeah, I agree. I think it's going to tie into the story somehow. We don't really know what the story is going to be yet, so we don't know if it's going to be, are you slowly reclaiming Manhattan, and you're building up your base of operations, obviously. But what is the last stand? Is it like the last stand for Manhattan, or is it for just sort of civilization? What is that last stand? So I think whatever the story is kind of going to tap into that. So I'm kind of curious to see. I hope it is kind of a raid.
We all want a raid, man. I mean, let's be honest. That's what we're really hoping for.
So I would love that. And I've seen stuff out there about the raid, and I've seen I've seen up to, I think it was like 4 teams of 4, kind of World of Warcraft style. So I'm curious to see if they do that or not, but I would love that.
Yeah. In any case, it's interesting and kind of refreshing, that they actually laid out the DLC plan. Nice to see that we're not having to guess. Kind of demonstrates a commitment to the game that they're going to support it and gives us an idea of what we're looking forward to. Some other news that came out this week is we now know what the season pass kind of exclusives are going to be. So in addition to the actual, getting those expansions that we talked about, the 3, there's also going to be some kind of season pass exclusive items. There's going to be a sawed-off shotgun, which they describe as a unique sidearm customized for short-range destruction. So you basically have a shotgun in your sidearm slot. And then there's this other interesting language that says we'll also receive a set of exclusive outfits, which will be, and weapon skins, which we'll all be chasing. Super skinny jeans, I'm thinking that's what might be in there, as well as access to special monthly benefits, including exclusive content drops and special events. Are you guys planning on getting the season pass, or are you going to kind of just play it out and get the expansions as they go? What are you guys thinking right now?
I'm so jaded, man. I'm so jaded. I'm just gonna see what they are before they announce them, and then I'll make a decision then. But I feel like with a lot of season passes, I've bought in before, and then I just feel like they don't deliver half the time. So I think I'm going to wait and see before I jump and buy the season pass. I'll probably pick up the DLCs, obviously, but unless there's a really compelling reason, I don't think the weapon skins and the kind of clothing are really going to do it for me.
You want jeans, Graham?
Yeah. I went. You know what? I went the Jenkos, man. I went like the those are really effective in the Dark Zone.
Jorts. Can we get a pair of Division jorts in the game, please? Gabe, are you thinking you're going to get the season pass, or are you going to kind of take them one at a time?
I think I'm just going to throw my money and hope for the best, because I think I really want to be because this game I've been waiting 3 years for, ever since I saw it at E3. And I'm from New York, so it's like seeing the city like this in a game where it's like they get it pretty tight. Like it looks like Manhattan, which is pretty cool. So I'm just gonna be I'm just gonna go all for it. And if I had the money, I would definitely get the collector's edition too.
Yeah, and we're all East Coast guys. So definitely we've talked before about kind of how they picked up the New York vibe pretty well. I mean, I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet on the season pass. I didn't pre-order it with the season pass, but it's interesting. I think the other thing, I mean, look, a sidearm sawed-off shotgun does sound pretty good. I'm hoping there's an item, and I guess this is kind of the next.
Compared to what? Like, we don't know.
compared to the two pistols that I've played with. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess we had the revolver and the sidearm, but I mean, most of these things, like with Destiny, are, when our Vanguard weapons were, only level 5, so we blew through that pretty quick. It's not any game-changing. They never give, for pre-orders, they never give anything that's really game-changing that you're going to use in any sort of longevity capacity.
Yeah, and I hope they don't. Go ahead, Graham.
I would say it's never end game worthy, right? It's like a hand up for when you're starting or something like that, maybe. But eventually you're gonna find that now you can get I don't know, some other kind of weapon that's gonna be stronger, or the same kind of thing, but it's gonna be higher level or better perks or what have you. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'd rather spend my money on alcohol.
Yeah.
There we have it. Go ahead, Gabe.
Here's that.
No, what I said before. I mean, I think with the shotgun, I know they always have to throw in some type of in-game content, which is perfectly fine. Of course, you expect skins and camos and stuff like that, and cosmetic items, really. But I'm just hoping it's kind of like Rainbow Six. I don't know if you guys are playing that or have played it.
Yep.
It's definitely, I love their season pass because it's definitely not a need be. Like, you don't need to have the season pass to get anything special because there's no community split, and that's what their whole idea was, and I really like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously, they can go either way about it, but for right now, I think I'm gonna get the season pass. But that's just me.
Yeah, I like Rainbow Six with the like I was just playing it this week, and some people who have the season pass, so they already have the newest operators and have the newest kind of tech and gear for their for their thing. So I would like that, and that might be interesting if it's like, hey, you get 2 months early access to these new trees that you can unlock, or something like that. That might be worth it.
I think. Go ahead, Beard.
Oh, I was just gonna say, yeah. Does that create like an unfair advantage because this is so based off of the PvP, the Dark Zone? You're gonna be at a disadvantage if these guys, 2 months, even 2 weeks, have a head start on you on, maybe the level cap or new gear or something. I think if they do it that route, the only way I would consider getting the season pass would be if it was of monetary value. If they say, okay, get the season pass for $45, but if you buy them all separately, it's going to be $60.
Okay. Yeah, I see what you're saying. There are a couple other things here worth talking about. One, I like the fact that we can now, we kind of assumed it, but we can now see with some certainty that sidearm slot's going to have a couple of different options. There's going to be a shotgun in there. We can tell from here, and I think that's pretty. We know this game is going to be a loadout type game, and it's going to be deep that way. But it's cool to actually see confirmation that that slot is going to have a couple of different options in it, and some kind of a heavy damage, close range weapon. I'm really happy to see that that's going to be a possibility. The other thing here that I want to get your guys' thoughts on is that this idea of special monthly benefits, including exclusive content drops and special events. Now, we don't know what those are in this game yet. We don't know what the special event is. But how do you guys feel in general about having those kind of things segregated off and kind of in place just for the folks that have gotten the season pass? Graham, what's kind of your thought on just that general approach? Yeah, Graham missed it. There he is.
I like it. I like it. I have to hop out here for a minute, but I like it a lot.
Okay. Yeah, and I think it as long as it doesn't, as Gabe said earlier, split the community, I don't have a problem with it really either. Okay, so the last bit of news that we want to talk about here, and we're getting a little long on the time for this section, but that's all right. We're having a good discussion here. So the last piece we want to talk about is the Last Man Battalion. So one of the last kind of factions, we got to look at it this week. A couple of different places. I love communities like this when they start kind of piecing together different clues to figure out what's going on in the game. And there were a couple things. I want to play a couple things for you. Actually, this audio, it's in a lot of places. Right here, this is coming from a video that Eric's Gaming did. But this is just to set the stage. Someone was listening to one of the radios in a Dark Zone safe house, and they heard this.
We've talked about the JTF, the Joint Task Force that's made up of city cops and first responders. They've made a pretty big difference in a lot of neighborhoods since this whole crazy mess got started. But just like food, water, sanity, and clean underwear, the JTF are a handy resource we just don't got enough of. And you know what they say? Nature abhors a vacuum. And my sources tell me somebody's trying to step into that breach. Somebody military. I'm talking PMC people, private military company types, who get sent into Manhattan to protect the rich folk stuff and found themselves trapped here with the rest of us. So, did they pitch in and play nice? Hell no. These Last Man Battalion Ubatses and their CO, some knucklehead named Bliss, decided Manhattan died and made them king. And since they got guns and the tanks and their shiny uniforms, they're taking their nickel and dime fascist bullshit to the streets. Our streets. And if you're in their territory and don't play by their rules, you're screwed. And by the by, you listen to those loudspeaker trucks that loudmouth Bliss keeps running up and down the streets? It's pretty clear he's thinking bigger than just Manhattan. So, if you see anybody in fatigues and Ninja Turtle gear...
So, a very interesting way to kind of get introduced to this new group, which we know is the Last Man Battalion, and kind of the storyline behind them is that they were basically the kind of private military contractors that were hired by New York's elite and wealthy, and they got trapped on the island with the outbreak, and so now they're just basically, extremely well-armed militia, and going to be really tough to handle. It's cool to see, the last kind of faction that will be fighting in the game. Do you guys feel, and I'm just curious, Gabe, on this, did you feel like you were, like the different sets of enemies really had a personality they were really distinguishable in the beta?
Yes. I definitely think that they're really different, each and every one of them, and especially I'm sort of upset that I didn't get to see the Rikers. I was actually really looking forward to that since they're from Rikers Island, and I kind of wanted to see that. And then the thugs, you can tell them apart, and you could definitely tell them apart from the cleaners as well. So everyone's diverse, everyone's different. They're wearing different clothing, so it's very easy to identify the groups.
Yeah, and I think you're starting to see a little bit of difference in the way they tactically too, which is pretty neat, pretty important.
Right.
Yeah, I think, and especially, it's funny, the cleaners, man, I think one of the most gratifying things about the beta was shooting that tank on their back.
Oh, yeah. I think that, maybe I didn't pay that close of attention, but that's the only way I could tell I was fighting the cleaners was the flamethrower guys that blew up occasionally. That was pretty cool, though. I mean, yeah, for a cinematic effect.
Yeah, absolutely. And some of the material that was out there, there was another conversation that was picked up that was between two kind of NPCs that made reference to them having tanks, which is really interesting. And I don't know if that's just kind of a story piece or, whether we'll actually see kind of vehicles that way. I mean, we know we don't have vehicles for our character, but it'll be really interesting to see if we're actually fighting a tank in this game. I don't know.
That would be like The Last of Us. I mean, you fight vehicles in that, but you never actually get to drive one. You get to ride a horse, but you're like riding a horse against this armored Humvee with a 50 cal. I mean, but that element worked. I mean, they worked it in the story, so I see, because this is a cover-based game, obviously you're going to use cover to avoid the tank. So I could see that. I mean, it would add definitely a different element because you don't expect that.
Yeah, and if nothing else, go ahead, Graham.
We've seen helicopters, so there's no reason why there couldn't be bad guy helicopters that you have to kind of hide from and evade from. The Dark Zone, there's good helicopters, so there's definitely vehicles that are existing out there.
Yeah, and I think the kind of interesting point is if there's a tank in the game, that means there will be a weapon capable of destroying a tank in the game as well, which that's something that I'm pretty interested in.
It's your sticky bomb, right? You just disable it and then
Oh man, dude! If a sticky bomb right now can't kill a guy in a hoodie, I'm not sure. I've got to level that thing up.
Yeah.
All right, guys, let's go to the final segment. Well, I guess we might have two more, but let's go to the open forum. I just want to commend everybody on the show too. These have been the cleanest bumper entries and exits that we've had since we started the show. So thank you guys very much for not talking over the bumpers.
We don't have our usual crew here.
We're kidding. I like to think we're learning a little bit as we go here, but
we don't have anybody who's drunk enough to ruin that for you, Dan.
Not yet.
Yeah.
Not yet, but we still have a couple minutes left.
I'm working on it.
Oh my God.
So, guys, open forum topic. We talked about it a little bit coming in, but let's do a couple things. One, Gabe, we obviously haven't heard your perspective, and I know, Beard, we haven't heard your perspective. You weren't on the show last week, just about the Dark Zone and how you guys felt about it. So, Gabe, why don't you go first? Kind of what was your general experience in the Dark Zone, and what do you think it's going to contribute to the game on release?
All right, so I said I really liked the whole way it worked in the Dark Zone, and I noticed that when you were in groups, you couldn't kill your group members. And I thought we saw that in the trailer, but I guess you have to kick them out, right? So I didn't know that. So I was trying to kill one of my friends, and he just sees me shooting. And he's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I don't know. I was supposed to be killing you."
Or you have to leave.
Nothing.
Yeah, because I did that because I'm like I joked around. I picked up. I'm heading out of the Dark Zone, right? And I picked up some blue gear. I'm like, I don't even want this. I'm just trying to get out of here, you know. So I was like, oh wait, you know, I can betray my own group. So when you go and you're in the Dark Zone, you leave the group. It gives you like a 5-second counter, so you can set up before it actually dismisses you from the group.
Oh.
So you're not in the menu system when you want to engage your buddies.
That's awesome.
Now, do your teammates see that counter though, or does it
they don't
only
see
go
it. They
once
don't.
you
They don't
actually
know. They don't know until that counter goes down, and then it'll say, an agent has left the group, and then then he'll start unloading on you. But he's already set up. He's ready for it. He's got a sticky bomb out or whatever.
So you're going to be the one, Beard? Is that what I'm getting from this? That you're going to be the one that we can't trust?
Well, I've already done it, so but in all fairness, I told you guys, I was like, all right, I'm going out.
Yeah. So
but,
whenever we're walking
guys,
anywhere, Beard will be in the middle. Pretty much.
Yeah.
Don't ever let him behind you.
Just keep your eye on me because you can't trust me.
Beard, what were your thoughts, aside from finding ways to murder your teammates, what were your thoughts on the Dark Zone?
Oh, yeah, well, I loved it. Unless it got boring, because we were running around, you and me, and I think Graham, and I forget who else was with us, but everybody was working together. Everybody in the Dark Zone was working together. I'm like, this is boring. Like, we'd call a helicopter in, go out, get some loot, call a heli, but nobody was shooting each other. And I was like, this is boring. And that's when, we went rogue. And then I picked up, I was just like, there's no challenge to this. We're just all, I don't know, it's just boring. So, but I love when it's challenging to get your loot out. It's rewarding.
Yeah, it takes the sweat level up a lot, for sure. I mean, I think, they could do a couple things with that. One would be, I don't think we really got a picture of what the enemy density is going to be in the Dark Zone. At least I'm really hoping we didn't, because to me it was really light. I mean, if you were in a spot where when that flare goes up for an extraction, you get a bunch of spawns nearby of pretty significant enemies, then even if people do team up, you've still got a little bit of a challenge there. I think if they're just relying on people to kind of go rogue on each other, it could be interesting. I mean, some days it'll just be, hey, just wander in and collect your loot and get it out, and then other days it'll be impossible to get loot out. But to get a kind of consistent experience, I really think a lot of that's going to come down to how many enemies they spawn in and what they do with the NPCs there. What
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I definitely don't. It's not going to be a consistent experience. Like when you go into the PvP area and Destiny, you're going up against another team. That, and so I guess it depends who's on, what the vibe is that day. Because it was like Friday night we got on. It was just it was a war zone. Everybody was going after. There was always a rogue somewhere. And then Saturday night we got on, and it was just
hands up.
Everybody's like, yeah, everyone's playing nice. And then it got boring, and I was like, all right, something's got to change. Let's start shooting people.
Nice of you to improve everyone's experience that way, Beard.
I think so. I mean, most of the time we got killed because, we were the only ones going rogue, so we gave other people the satisfaction of killing a rogue.
Yeah.
But, hey, improves everybody's experience all around.
Well, we've got a couple of weeks left, I guess. If these open beta rumors are true, we've got a couple of weeks left before we get into that. So let's jump in. We don't always get to do this, but we've got a little bit of time here, so let's jump into a bonus round. Once again, a perfectly clean bumper. You guys, I mean, it's nice to work with pros.
I think Gabe's sleeping.
Yeah.
No. I just don't want to ruin the moment and stuff, so I'm just like, let me just stay silent for a little bit.
I mean, so here's the bonus round question for the night. We've got a potentially couple weeks left until the open beta drops, and then we've got a couple weeks after that until the actual game releases. What are you guys playing in the meantime? Let's go around the horn. Graham, what are you playing between now and when Division comes out?
Oh, man. I've been playing Siege. Little tip for everybody. If you're gaming on a Wednesday night, Redbox has free game rentals. If you go there, and we're not sponsored by Redbox, I wish, but if you type in game on, you can get a free Redbox rental. So I've been renting every week on Wednesdays Siege, and playing that, and playing also Destiny, of course. We just finished Trials right before we got on here. I just finished my Trials bounties, even though it was we got murdered a couple times. So yeah, I'm kind of going back and forth. I just downloaded Helldivers, the free PlayStation game of the month. So I have not yet picked that really apart yet. I just kind of downloaded it and did the tutorial. So I think there's a couple of stuff to keep me busy, but it's kind of just all still not satisfying. I kind of wish that the beta was happening, this February beta, so I could have something to look forward to.
Yep. Beard, what are you playing between now and beta and/or game release?
Not much actually. I played a little bit of Helldivers, but I'm just kind of, I don't want to get involved in anything that'll take my time away from the Division. And obviously us three we were on Destiny tonight, but I'll just pick that up every once in a while. But yeah, just kind of holding out for the Division.
Yeah, I think for me, I got the Uncharted collection for Christmas, so I have been kind of picking at that. That's kind of my holdover game. And other than that, it's just like you said, things that don't require a commitment. So it's a little Madden here or there. It's this and that. And I do want to try out Helldivers, but man, I am certainly looking forward to it. Gabe, what are you playing between now and launch date?
Pretty much. I've been just going crazy on Rainbow Six Siege as well, and it's just I'm a season pass holder for that, so I've actually been playing with the new operators and such, and the game's really fun. And me and my friends, I think I'm ranked platinum. I think I'm ranked, so it's like
nice.
So it's been going pretty well, I would say.
That's great, man. Guys, I think that's going to wrap it for the show tonight. Let's, Gabe, really appreciate you coming on, man. Thanks.
No problem, man.
Thanks for being a part of the show. And we had a bunch of scheduling conflicts this week, and we moved the day because we got the Super Bowl tomorrow and all that. But yeah, appreciate you coming on, man. Why don't you give one more kind of plug for the show and for your Twitter?
Yeah, if you guys want to follow for all the Tom Clancy news, you can follow us at twitter.com/TC_report.
Great. Thanks, man. Any final thoughts from Beard or Graham? You guys got a pick in the Super Bowl tomorrow?
Panthers.
Panthers. All right, so this will actually get released probably after the game is out. So we will check back and see how it was. Beard, any final thoughts?
Just waiting for the game, man. Just want to play.
And by the way, if you are Redbox and you'd like to sponsor Dark Zone Report, you can get us at. No, seriously. We talked last week a little bit about we have. I just want to thank all the listeners too. We had to switch servers. We had to kind of move our stream from one feed to another, and you guys have been great. It looks like we've kind of retained almost everybody that was listening on the previous feed has come over. So thank you guys for doing that. We really enjoy doing this and hope you find it fun and entertaining and informational. So thanks for coming over. We are going to be giving you some opportunities. With that kind of move, there have been some costs that have come up with the show, and so we're going to give you a chance to kind of support the show. We'll be talking more about that in the coming weeks. If you're into it, you want to do that, that would be great. Other than that, if you'd like to be involved in the show, you'd like to kind of send in questions or thoughts, you can get us at dzrmailbag@gmail.com or on Twitter at DarkZoneReport. And once again, just want to thank everybody, the guys, for being on. Gabe, appreciate it. All the listeners, thanks for being with us. And until next week, we will see you in the Dark Zone. Good night, everybody.